Hey guys, this is Oren Productions, aka 4673, and I am back in Wilder Bahadur Story Part 3. Happy New Year's, first of all. Hope everybody enjoyed themselves over Christmas or whatever you celebrate, and I hope you got well into the new year. This is just me, but I've got a feeling 2018 is gonna be the year. Like, it's gonna be the year. I'm not sure for what, but it's gonna be the year. So, this is, yeah, well, I just said this was Bahadur's story, but I am not sure what happened at all, but it's chapter 5, so that much I got. I think, like, we went to the barn to sleep. Yeah, we're, like, escaping and stuff, so yeah, I got it, it's fine. The voices, though, are gone. The next morning, Bahadur leaves before the sun has risen and returns with a grim expression. The soldiers from Sia are still in the area and still guarding the gate to Djara. We ask Anisa if we may stay another night, and she is more than delighted to have us. Bahadur fixes the holes in the farmhouse roof, and I help make dinner again. This time I do not cut myself. The next day, the roads are no safer. I offer to do my best to dust around the house, and Anisa graciously accepts our request to impose for one more night. She mentions some strange noises coming from the cellar, and Bahadur investigates. Once he's cleared out the mouse nest, I go to release them in the field while he seals the cracks in the foundation. The day after that, we're still at risk, so we stay another night, and another, and another. One morning, we're finally preparing to leave, and Bahadur notices that the farmhouse door is sticking. We both agree that it would be rude to go without fixing it. That earns us another night. Oh no. I start to lose track of the days that have passed. It no longer seems to matter to Anisa why we're here. We just are. If I asked Bahadur, he would say that we are simply being cautious. That is why we stay. I would pretend to believe him and leave it at that. Oh God. But I don't ask Bahadur, I just enjoy it, this simple day-to-day existence. He enjoys it too, I know he does. Jiraiya, good morning. Good morning. Anisa holds a large basket in her arms. Ugh, sorry, gotta move my arm. Would you like to help me collect the eggs? Of course. Of course. I smile and she senses it, smiling back. I take the basket from her, and we both make our way to the coop, where the chickens are already clucking up in a storm. We go from box to box, picking up the eggs that the hens have left. So... Anisa nudges me with her elbow. You're Bahadur. What about Bahadur? You've got yourself a catch there. He's one of the good ones. Yes, he is. Kind, capable, respectful, and handsome, probably, I think. This would be me as a blind lady. I assume he is handsome. Don't be like that. Come on, Jiraiya. Do you know how long it's been since I last got to gossip? Indulge me, please. Anisa, he's gorgeous. Handsome? Try gorgeous. As tall as a god's, abs like solid rock, and the gentlest eyes you've ever seen. Oh, Jiraiya, I bet you're quite the match. I hope so. The words slip out, unbidden and utterly inappropriate. Such a conversation in Sia would have been scandalous, forbidden. But here, I'm just a woman speaking with another woman. Speaking about a man who is not a slave, but just a man. I swallow. I hope I can make him proud. Anisa laughs. Oh, my dear, I've never heard a man with more pride in his voice than when Bahadur talks about you. He talks about me? Anisa laughs again, placing the eggs she had gathered into my basket. Do you want to know what he says? Yes! Please, tell me. Anisa leans in, oh, I know this word, and I know how to pronounce this word. Conspiratorial. Oh, for fuck's sake. Excuse me. And somehow giddy like a young girl. Well. Oh, look, we're all done. Anisa drops the last egg in the basket and beams at me. Better get them inside. Oh, she is enjoying tormenting me. But somehow I find myself smiling. I've never had any friends in Sia, and Aunt Lamia would never speak to me like this. You're an evil old woman. Ha! You're finally coming out of your shell. Her fingers pinched gently at my cheek before coming up to her mouth and thought. How is the coop looking these days? Oh boy. Look at the hen house, splattered and stained with layers of dirt, old grain, feathers, and chicken leavings. It's filthy. It's the filthiest thing I've ever seen. I mean, by far. Covered in chicken shit! Among other things. Anissa frowns for a moment, hands on hips. I knew it. It's needed cleaning for a long time. There's a hint of shame in her voice. Look at her withered arthritic hands. The cane with which she manages to hobble around the farm. She's in no shape to get her on her hands and knees to scrub a chicken coop. She hasn't been for some time. Is there no one to help you with things like this? No one at all? No one. I'm sure Bahadur would try if I asked, but Bahadur's arm would barely fit through the hatch into the hen house. I think it gets stuck. Anissa giggles, then goes quiet, then sighs. And of course I wouldn't dream of asking you, Jiraiya, so she trails off, sighing again. Come on, Jiraiya, just clean the goddamn chicken shit. Don't be a little chicken shit, just clean it up. Wait, why wouldn't you ask me? Well, on account of you being so what? Delicate. I can tell that she's putting it as diplomatically as she can. It still stings. I'm doing it. What? I stride with purpose towards the hen house. Both, but yes, you want to help. Anissa's struggles are heartbreaking, and I want to repay her for her hospitality. As I drop down on my knees and go to crawl into the coop, Anissa grabs wildly at my arm. Wait, at least let me get you a change of clothes and some equipment. Oh, right. That is acceptable. Anissa hurries off and returns with some plain clothes, a bucket of soapy water, and some rags. As she frets as I, in my new outfit, crawl as far as I can into the hen house and start scrubbing away the filth. Time wears on and Anissa eventually stops hovering like an overly concerned parent when her chores come calling. Left alone, I continue to scrub, rinse, and wash the inside of the coop until it finally, well, alright, it doesn't gleam, old wood doesn't, but it is clean. When I back out of the little door and rise to admire a job well done, a wave of dizziness washes over me. My back aches, my knees are scraped raw, my arms shake, and my fingers are flushed deep red with the effort of scrubbing. I'm beginning to wonder if I'll ever get this foul smell out of my nose. But I did it. My lady. Bahadur! I spin around to find him, box of tools under his arms, staring at me in shock. I must look quite the state. Bracing myself for another lecture of taking care of my oh-so-delicate self, I wait for the recriminations to start. Pfft. Bahadur's free hand comes up to his mouth, trying and failing to stifle a laugh. I am offended! What's so funny? Bahadur struggles to speak through his laughter. My apologies, my lady, but I never thought I'd see. You're covered in... He breaks off into another fit of laughter and I look down at myself. Oh boy, that is a lot of chicken poop. Well, that's embarrassing. My face heats up and I suddenly wish I had something to hide behind. Oh, Lady Jiraiya. Bahadur has finally control of himself. His smile is now gentler, warmer. You did a fine job. I glance behind me at the clean coop and have to agree. It was nothing. Bahadur's eyes flick down to my damaged hands and scraped knees. But he doesn't argue. His face is still warm and open in a way that I don't think I've seen before. It's a nice moment, broken only by the arrival of a swarm of hens crowding and flapping around Bahadur's feet. He looks down at them awkwardly. Sorry, ladies, don't have anything for you. They continue to crowd him, clucking loudly. Bahadur throws a look of exasperation my way. I don't have their feed. Now it's my turn to laugh. I think they just like you. Animals always do. Bahadur's mouth tightens into a grim line. It's a mystery why. Poor taste. Poor taste on their part, I'd say. Bahadur looks at me, distraught, until I dissolve into laughter again. A small, unsure smile breaks out on his face. My lady is so cruel. Oh. I can't. I'm awing too much. You have to leave the house. You have to get on with your life. Later, when evening falls, the three of us sit down and eat a meal that I cooked almost completely by myself. It's a bit of a clumsy attempt. The potatoes are burned and the flavor is a little peculiar. But both Bahadur and Anisa have nothing but kind words for me, and they eat everything on their plates. That night, as Bahadur hits the barn to turn in, I reach out to grasp his wrist. I feel strangely shy. This is the first time. I've never felt like I could take care of myself before. I know I have a long way to go, but this feels good. Today was good. Bahadur looks down at me with a kind yet somehow pained expression. His big warm hand comes to cover mine. It's a complicated feeling. I've been your caretaker for so long. To see you like this, to see you start to understand your own capabilities. Are you impressed? I asked the question a little cheekily. Bahadur answers with simple honesty. I am immeasurably proud. But the feeling is also somehow a bit lonely. Because I'm not a little girl anymore. Bahadur pauses before answering. You are a woman, Lady Jiraiya. I have known that for some time now. Oh, have you? I apologize for not treating you as such. Then he pulls away, gently but firmly, and heads into the barn. I stand alone in the night air for some time. For a long time I wanted Bahadur to see me as a woman. I wanted to have him not coddle me, but talk to me, to have a connection with him that goes beyond what Sia could give us. Has something changed? Are we closer now? Or am I deluding myself? When I go to bed, it is with these thoughts consuming my mind. Wait, I thought we were sleeping in the barn. Oh well. I guess he convinced her otherwise. I would totally sleep in the barn though. The next day. I get up early to take the animals their breakfast. I come to a hard stop when I realize what is missing from the field. The cows! Dropping the bucket of feed, I race to find Bahadur. He's on the roof of the barn, humming quietly to himself as he fixes some holes. Bahadur! I hiss up at him, not wanting to rouse Anisa. Bahadur drops down from the roof, landing effortlessly. What's wrong? The cows are gone! What? I take him to the field. Sure enough, neither cow is anywhere to be seen. Perhaps they got loose? My lady, could you please look around the farm? I need to check if the fence is broken somewhere. Right. I hurry off, doing a quick circuit of the property. I find no cows, but I do see some smeared tracks in the dirt leading out of the farm. Back at the field, Bahadur looks as stunned as I am. There's nothing wrong with the fence. Perhaps they were stolen. Perhaps they were stolen? Do you think? Restless. We both start and turn to find Anisa hunched low, her cane over her cane, wrinkled face drawn into a deep frown. They came before, not too many months ago, snuck in under the blanket of night, took the rest of my cattle. Those were the only two I had left. You say they're gone? Yes. She sighs, a thin, trembling sigh. Well, that's that. Anisa, you're giving up just like that? It's so out of character for the headstrong Anisa I've come to know. You get used to it, you know, being targeted for things like this. An old blind lady is always going to be an easier mark, don't you think? I feel so friggin' bad about stealing from her when in Rand's route. Oh my god. She's never sounded defeated like this before. I hate it. Oh well, come inside when you're ready for breakfast, you two. She puts on what she must think is a smile, then heads back into the house. Her steps seem slower today, her body small and frail. Determination ignites inside of me. Bahadur, we have to help her. Bahadur nods with the same burning determination. And I think I have a lead. I show Bahadur the tracks leading out of the farm. Together we follow them out the road. I knew this was going somewhere I wouldn't like. They do not turn onto the road, but instead head off into the countryside. I was awake until late last night. These thieves could have only come in the early hours this morning. T-zip. So they couldn't have gone far? Bahadur nods, eyes scanning the ground beneath us for where the tracks disappear and reappear in the dirt. We follow them for a while until Bahadur stops short. He sniffs the air. We're getting close. My lady, perhaps it is best if you return to the farm. I could take things from here. You're still trying to protect me? Be nice. Bahadur, you're always looking after me. Thank you. But I'm part of this, do you understand? As you wish, my lady. Well, good. He puts up less than a fight than I was expecting. As he turns away, I even catch a hint of amusement on his face before it's hidden from me. Okay, gotta adjust my position. Ugh. We push on until we finally come to a small campsite nestled in a little grove of trees. A group of men lie around the burnt-out campfire, empty bottles strewn around them. They have clearly been drinking heavily. Anissa's cows are tethered to a tree nearby. No one has noticed us yet. We need a plan. I'll distract the men. You untie the cows. My lady, no, that's too dangerous. To head off any more protests, I step into the open and clear my throat. Excuse me, gentlemen. All the gentlemen crane their heads to look up at me with bleary eyes. Suddenly, they're all upright and alert. A girl? Shh! Shut up, you dolt! How may I be of service, my dear lady? They all look at me with fake smiles and calculating eyes. I'm afraid that I'm rather lost. I don't suppose you know the way to Dajara. Dajara? Aye, we know the way, but my dear, you look like you could do with a rest. Yeah, come join us, why don't you? Really? Oh, that's ever so kind of you. They're exchanging painfully obvious glances. They can't believe their luck. I step closer, hoping Bahadur is making progress with his part of the plan. One man grabs my arm and yanks me down to sit beside him at the fire. Here, come sit with me. Thank you. All of the men are crowded around me. Ugh, they stink of booze. Hurry up, Bahadur. Moo! Oh no. All the men turn to look at the noise. Bahadur stands midway through untying the ropes that tether the crowds to the tree. He freezes and meets the eyes of the thieves. Now the air is full of angry cries and cursing. Thieves! Dirty thieves! Well, that's rich. Grab the girl! Hands reach for me and I slap them away. Then a roar from Bahadur stops everyone in their tracks. Enough! His fist closes around the fabric of one man's shirt, and the man is lifted high into the air. Gentlemen, we'll be taking those cows. The other men hesitate to help their friend, cowering in Bahadur's long shadow. Screw you! Yeah, those are our cows! Bahadur growls, lifting his struggling prey higher. Fuck this. You know, my Jean friend here could crush your head like a grape. Just saying. Fine, take the damn beasts! Bahadur lowers the man, and then all three of rustlers scramble to get far away. They're all skin and bone anyway. With that parting shot, the thieves disappear from sight. Bahadur and I finish untying the cows, and take the lead for one each, and start guiding them home. Well, that was something. Look up at Bahadur, he's beaming. What? He shakes his head, still grinning. I was just thinking about how incredible you were, my lady. Oh, come off it, Bahadur, I didn't do anything. He gapes at me. What are you saying? You acted decisively and you didn't lose your composure. I've never seen you take charge like that before. It was, well, like I said, it was incredible. He shrugs helplessly. I really didn't do anything. You are incredible. Thank you? Ugh. With a groan of frustration, Bahadur stops dead still. He turns to me, standing close, and takes my shoulders in his hands. Oh, it's the music! It's the music, everybody! Are you ready? It's the Hot Springs music! Oh! I mean, composure. I feel like no matter how many times I say it, you don't understand. You're praising me, like you always do. I answer softly, and Bahadur's face scrunches up into something painful. No, not like always. I'm trying to say that seeing how you've grown since we left Sia, the way you've bloomed before my eyes, I feel like this might have been the best possible thing that could have happened to us. He groans again, hands tightening on my shoulders. I'm not saying it right. I'm not clever enough with words. I don't mean that I'm happy about what happened to you, or that you had to be ripped from your home. But since we arrived at Anissa's farm, I've seen you do things that I never could have imagined you'd ever do. I've seen you smile like you really mean it, like you're truly happy. And I think perhaps you sorely needed this freedom in order to find out who you are. Am I making sense? Tears well up, hot and sharp in the corners of my eyes. Oh, no, my lady, please, I'm sorry. I meant no offense. You've changed too, Bahadur. My lady? You never would have said something like this to me before. I'm so sorry. You never would have trusted me to help you. In Sia, you never smiled or laughed like you do here. And you never looked at me like what, my lady? His words are a breath. His face is so close. His eyes are burning. Like you're looking at me right now. Bahadur is all I can see. The lines of his face, the deep amber of his eyes, the way his tongue peeks out to wet his lips. He is scared, and so am I. But he does not back down, and neither do I. Command me. What? Please, command me. No, fuck that! We're having a fucking healthy relationship if I'm gonna fucking die trying. Jiraiya, I am here for you. I will make this into a healthy relationship where you're both equals. Bahadur, tell me, what are you thinking? Bahadur hesitates, lips trembling. Please, tell me. I want you. The words are quiet and ragged, and quickly swallowed by my mouth as I bring it up to his. We stay that way for a moment, for moments, minutes. His lips are soft against mine, and I cannot move for fear of shattering everything. Finally, he draws back. Bahadur, one large finger presses against my lower lip, wiping at the wetness left there. I go quiet. Then, as one, we come together once again. This time, there are tongues and hands tangled in hair, and little moans and whimpers pressed into each other's mouths. I line my body. Are we going on full-on sex scene? 'Cause I was thinking about turning the 18 filter off again. I am very indecisive. Oh well, we'll see where it goes. I line my body against his, seeking more of his warmth. His hands fall to my hips, heavy and insistent, and I feel myself naturally leaning backwards, dipping down, as if to fall upon the grass. Yeah, moo, yeah. As with a jolt we startle apart, two pairs of judgmental cow eyes watch us from barely a meter away. Wait, when did we drop the leads? Bahadur lets out a breathless chuckle and steps away, his heat abandoning me immediately. We're lucky they didn't wander off. That would have been unfortunate. Can you imagine, Anissa? The good news is we found your cows. The bad is we lost them again. Bahadur huffs out another laugh and takes the rope. Come on, we better get back. I take up the other rope and we start walking. I want to ask, is your skin tingling too? And I want to beg, please don't pretend that this never happened. But I don't. I say nothing, and we walk back in silence. Wordless, Bahadur's hand brushes against mine, and then takes it. A spark of excitement and hope shoots through me. My hand is cradled in his palm. We still do not break our silence, and we walk all the way home just like that. God, I can't. It's too cute. You know what? I should probably turn on the filter. It is a dangerous time on YouTube. Yeah, I'm probably gonna do that. Can you do that in the settings? Oh, we're gonna have to. Man, then I'm gonna have to play it. No, you know what? Then fuck it. I'm not gonna play the entire game through again just to turn that off. No way. Once the cows are safely back in their field, Bahadur still does not let go of my hand. With a soft tug, he leads me over to the barn. Oh, maybe I should. Huh. No, fuck it. We're gonna do this. As soon as the large door closes behind us, Bahadur's hands are cupping my face once more. May I? I only nod. I can only nod, and he kisses me like it's all he's been thinking about since we last stopped. I kiss back with exactly the same enthusiasm. After all, it is all I've been thinking about. Jiraiya. Eventually, we find ourselves lying back in the hay. Bahadur's body looms over me, eclipsing anything else. God damn it. Gosh darn it. The thing is, I'm also thinking, like, mature filters aside, are they ready? Like, I feel like their conversation, even though it's been a while, like their conversation about what happened and the physical, well, I guess the abuse that Bahadur went through, I feel like it's still a bit raw, and I feel like they still haven't resolved some things. Like, he still sometimes calls her my lady and stuff like that. I'm not sure if it's time, but on the other hand, fuck it. Jeez. I take his hand in mine and guide it to my left breast. Not my left breast, just my breast in general. Bahadur breaks away for a moment and looks me in the eye. Are you... Bahadur, please. I want you. A tremor ripples through him, and then he's devouring me again. My lips, my tongue, my neck. His hands have finally gained the courage to squeeze my breasts through my dress, then slip underneath to lay me bare. From then, he takes his time, devouring more and more of me, every inch of me. Between my parted legs, his mouth brings me a pleasure I never could have even imagined. Then, because I know he will never take the final step before he's driven me mad and drained me of all I have, I push him down and rise to sit tall atop of him. He takes all of me. Whew, boy. Much later, we're still lying in the hay, covered from head to toe, still breathing ragged gasps against each other's lips. Bahadur. Between kisses he responds. Call me by my name again. Just my name. Jiraiya. I whisper the old childhood nickname, the one that had felt forbidden for so long. He holds me tighter, squeezing so hard, but never hard enough to hurt. We fall asleep just like that, wrapped in each other's arms, pressed so close that we're almost one person. Yeah, meanwhile, Anissa is just like, where the fuck did the youngsters go, and why are my cows back? Bahadur, Jiraiya! I come to with a start. Bahadur goes tense against me, then pulls away to stand up. It's dark. We've been gone a long time. In panic, he tries to brush himself down and look presentable. Why bother? You do know that she's blind, right? That's not the point. With a sigh, I follow Bahadur's lead and pull my clothes back on, shaking hay out of my hair. We burst into the open air and find Anissa almost upon us. Where the heck have you two been? I can explain. Cows? What? Bahadur and Anissa both turn to me like I've gone mad. I meant, we found your cows. You found them? Bahadur smiles and puts a kind hand on Anissa's shoulder. That's right. You did that for me? Of course. I put my hand on her other shoulder. She begins to tremble. Through a sudden waterfall of tears, she pulls us both into a tight hug. Oh, my children, my children. Bahadur's twinkling eyes meet mine, and we bring up our arms to complete the embrace. You're gems, utter gems, my beautiful children. My eyes grow wet as she holds us closer, with one hand grasping at Anissa's back and the other holding onto Bahadur's arm. I feel a painful, wild kind of love surge through me. 18 years in Sia, and I had never felt a fraction of the love that I found in this run-down little farm. Am I home? I don't know. We sleep together in the barn that night. I lie with my head resting on Bahadur's broad chest, his strong heartbeat beneath my ear. In the morning we wake late. In fact, it could scarcely be called morning any longer. Red-faced but smiling, we emerge together, ready for a new day. Fuck. I grab Bahadur's arm and we both freeze. Hamza, the captain of the guard himself, flanked by some of his men. If you kill Anissa, I am actually gonna have a gigantic flip. They haven't noticed us yet, and we quickly hide ourselves from sight. A heavy knock at the farmhouse's door brings out Anissa. Good morning. Good morning, ma'am. I'm Captain Hamza of the Sia Royal Guard. Sia? Oh, goodness, you're a long way from home. We're currently pursuing a pair of dangerous criminals and have reason to believe they have fled to these parts. Oh, my. One is a young woman. She comes from a noble house and has the appearance of a lady, but let me assure you that she is a scheming animal. The other is her Jean, a beast with white hair and skin. White hair and skin? Oh, they don't know it's... Oh, okay. Scarred body and blood-red eyes. I share a startled look with Bahadur, so they think that Ran and I fled together. Did the men who accosted us in the desert not tell Hamza about Bahadur? Were they too ashamed? Were they too injured? Have you seen anyone fitting those descriptions? A long silence stretches while Anissa stares Hamza down and waits for the penny to drop. It doesn't. I am blind. Ah. Hamza barely reacts. Well, in the past few weeks, have you happened to meet any well-spoken young women traveling with a male Jean companion? Anissa pauses. I hold my breath, pulse leaping in my throat. No, I'm afraid not. Are you sure? We are certain they would have traveled down this road. I am sure. Sorry that I couldn't be of more help to you, gentlemen. Very well, thank you for your time. Oh no. The guards turn and start to walk away. Just before Anissa can close her door, Hamza turns back for one last parting shot. I am urging everyone I speak to that they keep this in mind. Aiding or withholding information on fugitives wanting for treason, murder, and terrorism is of serious offense and will be met with the appropriate punishment. What? Good day, ma'am. He and his men leave. When it is safe enough, Bahadur and I slip back into the barn. We have to leave. Bahadur, we have to go. Yes. Still, he hesitates. If we leave now, we walk right into their trap. But we can't stay here anymore. Bahadur sighs, running his hands over his face. If we leave, we put ourselves at risk. If we stay, there are still a risk, and we're also putting Anissa in danger. So, we go? I think we must. Ahem. God. Once again, she has managed to sneak up behind us. Bahadur, come here. Sternly, she calls Bahadur to stand before her, then directs him with her finger until he's bent low to her level. She reaches out her hands to his face, and with only a moment's hesitation, he lets her touch him. Her fingers smooth over the planes and grooves of his face. Then she explores higher, past his eyes, past his forehead, until her hands rest on his horns. You are a Jean. Yes, ma'am. She sucks in a breath and steps back. It is you, the fugitives from Sia. Yeah. But you don't have to believe us. We would never— Enough! I fall silent. Bahadur hangs his head. Then her hard expression melts, and she's pulling us both into an embrace. Like last night. That's enough. You don't need to say anything. I know you. You're my children. Her arms tighten around us. Her voice is thick with emotion. And goodness, what a mess you've gotten yourselves into. Finally, she pulls back and dabs her eyes with the corners of her apron. So, what to do now? Bahadur clears his throat, chasing away his own welling emotions. We came this way to find a ship. Yes, but we can't get into the Jara. They know it's our only hope. They know if they wait long enough, they'll catch us. Bahadur. Yes? Honest to horse. She lets out a long, determined breath. I'll take you. For the second time in recent memory, I find myself hiding in the back of a cart. The rickety old thing trundles its way along the road, rocking Bahadur and myself to and fro with every bump it hits. She's gonna die! She's gonna die! I hate this. I should have taken a look at the wheels when I had the chance. Bahadur is so serious in his regret at not being able to fix every single thing he could before we left, I can't help myself. What? Why are you laughing at me? It's just so like you to talk like that. Never mind, don't worry about it. The tension slowly descends once again. The journey continues in fraught silence until we finally pull to a stop. Excuse me. I can't see much as I am hidden beneath the card canvas's hood, but I do get a small glimpse of the gates of Tajara. Excuse me! And hear the sounds of what has to be at least 2 men standing before it. Hanisa, what a surprise! You're still going, you old goat! Aye, long after you're dead and buried, you fat tub of lard. Always a pleasure, my dear, always a pleasure. We've missed your fruit cake at the market, something fierce. Oh, well, aren't you in luck then? 'Cause guess what I have in my card? I hear the wink in her voice. If she's nervous, she shows absolutely no sign of it. Oh, you're an angel, Anissa, a bloomin' angel. Well, what you waiting for? Come in, come in. Much obliged. Halt! My heart catches in my throat. Bahadur's hand closes over mine, and we wait in the dark for what comes next. What do you think you're doing? How many times have we instructed that you people cannot go past these gates unchecked? Aye, of course, sir. I don't need to see the man to know that he's rolling his eyes. You ever seen such travesty, Anissa? These jumped-up seer folk descending on our town, telling us to guard our gate and pick up bums. As has been explained many times, we're here on the official business of apprehending a pair of dangerous criminals. Right, so you keep saying, again and again and again. Well, this is our Anissa, local farmer and bloody institution in these parts. Surely you don't need to be going riffling through her veggies and fruitcake looking for hidden assassins. Everyone must be checked. Bloody hell, fine. Oh, don't you bother moving your precious ass. I'll do it, I suppose. This is bad. The guard's footsteps come closer. Anissa starts to lose a little of her composure. Is this really necessary? I know you old glutton. You just want a pinch of one of my cakes. Sorry, old girl. This won't take long. My breath catches and sticks in my throat as the canvas that hits us is lifted, and a shaft of light illuminates us for the guard to see. That is, if the guard was even bothering to look. His eyes never even glance inside before he's dropping the corner of the canvas that he lifted, and Bahadur and I return to the darkness, undiscovered. I cannot believe how incredibly fucking lucky that is. Aye, all clear. His bored voice moves further away as he returns to his post at the gate. Did you look? Probably. Yeah. Turns out they're old little blind lady. No offense, Anissa. Ain't smuggling in assassins. Go figure. Just let her through, would ya? If you keep bothering all our farmers and merchants like this, then Tajara ain't gonna get many visitors anymore. That is hardly see as concern. Well, the irate voices of men fades away as the cart begins to move again, carrying us through the gates and into the town. When we come to a stop, that is the last one. Anissa herself pulls back the canvas this time, and we find ourselves in a small, empty side road. Anissa, will you be all right? Ah, yes, no one suspects the pitiful old blind lady. Now quickly, children. Bahadur climbs out first and extends his hand to me. When we both have our feet firmly planted on the ground, Anissa pulls us off them and into a crushing hug. Ma'am, we cannot express. Oh, we'll miss you, Anissa. Yes. The words come out small and quiet and trembling. Oh, Jervaya, Bahadur, I shall miss you both terribly. She holds us tighter for a moment before letting us go. Now, if I am not mistaken, this little road comes out just beside an inn. The woman who runs it is a decent sort. She'll feed you at least. Oh, but we don't have... Something is pressed into my hand so quickly I barely have time to react before Anissa is atop her cart already leaving. Farewell, my sweet children, and good luck. Her voice trembles with tears as she disappears from view, almost as if she couldn't bear the pain of drawing out the goodbye for a moment longer. When I open my fingers around the parting gift Anissa left with me, my heart clenches. She gave us money? When she had so little to spare? I clenched my jaw against an abrupt wave of tears. Tears we don't have time for. Let's go. Yes. Emotions rubbed raw. The two of us turn and head out of the alley and into the streets of Tujara. It doesn't take long to find the inn that Anissa mentioned. Pirate music! Here we are again. Oh, good stuff. Good old Tujara. Actually, Tujara ain't that nice of a city. As far as I can remember from last time, people weren't that nice. It doesn't take us long to find the inn that Anissa mentioned. Inside, above the stale pong of beer and sweat, the beautiful smell of food assaults us. With everything that has happened today, we haven't had a chance to eat. I order a meal for each of us, but when the plates are brought to the table, Bahadur does not sit. As he would back in Sia, he stands beside and slightly behind my chair to watch over me while I eat. What was once a staple of every mealtime now feels bizarre and unnatural. A strange sort of panic grips me to think that things between us could regress so quickly. Bahadur's stiff and quiet, and I believe he's painfully aware of the many pair of human eyes that are now turned on us. The only thing to be thankful for is just how many people are here with their Jean servants. No one seemed to look at us with suspicion or fear. We slot back into society so very nicely. I convinced Bahadur to take a seat only through repeated pestering and finally through the threat of causing a scene. Giving in, he sits and begins eating with distant, subdued politeness while we both ignore the disapproving looks being thrown our way. Looks don't seem suspicious, thank goodness, that the hunt is for a woman and her albino... thank goodness that the hunt is for a woman and her albino gene. But we're both feeling it, the discomfort of being thrust back into society after the refuge we found on Anissa's farm. The strange sense of shame that now accompanies our memories of that time, how desperately we had been hiding from reality. I sigh, and we continue to eat in silence, eyes cast down at our plates. Some grizzled old dock worker comes over at some point, face all false grin and fake friendliness. My mate just arrived, so there ain't no chairs left. Mind if I take one? Don't mind if I take one? This one, do ya, miss? He puts his hand on the back of Bahadur's chair and gives it a little tug. That seat is already taken. Bahadur rushes to a stand. My lady, I don't mind. Cheers! The man starts to pull the chair away. I said no, did you not hear me? But I said no! I am in no mood for this rubbish. This is Bahadur's seat, not his. The man shoots me a dirty look and walks back to his table. When I inquire about a room for the night, the innkeeper regrets to inform us that all rooms are taken. She does, however, offer to let us stay down here in the bar for the night, half price. Too wary to leave and too afraid of venturing outside just yet, I agree. Unfortunately, the bar doesn't close until late, and it'll be a long wait until Bahadur and I can get any privacy or rest. The innkeeper, sensing my misery, makes a suggestion. Why don't do as everyone else is doing? Drink! But don't use the Anissa voice. Honestly, and no offense, but you look like you could do with one. I've never taken as much as a sip of alcohol in my life. A strange sort of excitement takes over me. A glass of wine, please? I don't know who is more surprised, myself or Bahadur. My lady. The innkeeper smiles a wry smile and shakes her head as if I was a foolish child. One flagon of ale coming right up, princess. I glance over at Bahadur. Make that 2 flagons. My lady. The innkeeper looks from me to Bahadur and back again, eyebrows raised, mouth downturned, into just an ever so slightly disapproving frown. 2 ales it is. Soon as she leaves the table, Bahadur pinches forward in his seat, voice lowered but severe. My lady, really. Shouldn't we be trying to blend in? I gesture around the tables and tables of rowdy customers. With the sailors and duckers and drunken riffraff, not so much, my lady. The innkeeper returns with 2 full tankards. Enjoy! She leaves us with a wink while Bahadur sits resolute, arms crossed. You know that just means we're gonna be drinking it, right? We're not wasting that. Not when we have so little money. I take my ale in hand, but hesitate to take my first sip. This is just so naughty. And Lamia would faint if she knew. Aren't you going to drink, Bahadur? I'll pass, my lady. Why? A slave does not indulge so. Something painful crosses Bahadur's face for a moment, then he sighs and offers a reassuring smile. I don't wish to draw suspicion on us, my lady. Fine. I want to try it so very badly. Yeah, fuck that, I'm drinking both. As mentioned, no, 2 beers ain't gonna go to waste. I'll just have to drink both then. I pull Bahadur's flagon towards me and steel myself. My lady, do not force yourself. The sudden feeling of distance between us had made me rather petulant and stubborn, and I ignore him entirely. I grip my flagon tightly, too tightly, and struggle to bring it closer and put it down. You can drink us if you wish, my lady. I will watch over you. Thank you. I take a sip. It fizzes in my mouth, fills my nose with an acid stench, and burns all the way down my throat. The second sip is somehow even worse. The fifth mouthful is easier. When I finish my tankard, I reach for Bahadur's without even thinking. All the time he sits and watches me, quiet, indulgent, distant. When I finish his ale, the innkeeper is on hand to replace it. The room is somehow both muted and unbearably loud, or perhaps that is just the pulse pounding in my ears. Bahadur's face is blurred, my fingers fumble clumsily with the cup in my hand. Sometime before I reach the bottom of my third drink, everything tilts upside down and then goes black. I wake in Bahadur's arms. I do not say a word and close my eyes before he notices that I am awake. He carries me like a bride, safe in his arms, before finally lowering me onto a long booth seat. Forgive me, my lady. You've had better beds. I've had worse. Bahadur startles and relaxes into a chuckle. Indeed. Where is everyone? The bar is closed, my ladies. We may use the room until morning. I blink and cannot hear the blur from my eyes. Clear the blur from my eyes. Am I drunk? Is that what this is? I do not feel quite myself, or actually, perhaps more myself than is wise. That is a very good description. Myself, but without restraint, without propriety, without the power to keep my thoughts and thoughts alone. You're so far away. I do not think the seat will accommodate to both of us, my lady. He says it lightly, like it's funny. I don't mean that. He kneels, face coming closer. I won't be far, just one booth over. Or I could sleep here, beside you, if you'd prefer. On the floor? I don't want you to sleep on the floor. I wouldn't mind, my lady. Truth to be told, I would feel better if we were to keep close in this strange place. Why don't you sleep in the seat, and I'll sleep on the floor? Of course not, my lady. You would be wrong. And why is that? Because you're my master. Because I'm your slave. Bahadur looks at me, helpless. The alcohol in me has made me numb, but my heart hurts. No. Good night, Bahadur. He hesitates as if to speak. Then something in his eyes goes hard, and he manages another one of those infuriatingly distant smiles. Good night, my lady. As I lie miserable in the darkness, sleep comes back to me quickly. Perhaps it is a drunken hallucination, but I do not think I imagine Bahadur's large hand on my head, just when I was a child, stroking my hair until I fall asleep. Oh boy. I know, I could have probably lifted the mood by kissing him, but I just feel like it wouldn't be right. Shouldn't just stop arguments like that. The docks are a hub of bustle and noise. Men throw crates around, bark orders, shout out to one another. My head throbs, and I barely manage to hold in a groan of misery. When the innkeeper saw me this morning, I must have looked quite the state. She had laughed. Hungover, she called it. What's the hurry, Jean? My mistress is eager to return to her family, and her family are eager to see that I bring her home to Umar safely. Bahadur discusses the coming and goings of ships with the harbour master, while I barely cling to their words. The salt smells of the sea calls me, and I find myself drawn to the edge of the docks. The water laps almost hypnotically, and I find it helps to listen to it. The memories of last night are vague, though unfortunately not vague enough. I push them away, along with the urge to vomit, and let the sea calm me. I close my eyes and breathe in time with the waves. In, out, in, out, in, out, in, A slave does not indulge so. Out. My lady, when I open my eyes I can see clearer. Bahadur, any luck? Some, my lady. There's a ship to Umar that leaves tomorrow morning. The harbour master believes the captain will welcome us aboard, if offered enough coin. And do we have enough coin? No. The harbour master also believes that you possess something far more enticing than money. If you offer my services for the duration of the voyage, the captain will be sure to accept. You're no sailor. I am whatever you need me to be, my lady. And you're happy with this arrangement? Your happiness is mine, my lady. Oh, for fuck's sake! Oh! Oh, stop it! I don't mean to shout, yet suddenly cannot control my voice. Bahadur does stop, face crumbling for a moment before smoothing back into an inoffensive, indulgent mask. Forgive me. There's nothing to forgive, my lady. Fuck off! No, you know what? No, I'm not sorry. I'm not sorry. I turn and start walking in no particular direction, just away. Bahadur doesn't miss a moment, falling back at my step. Perhaps what? Perhaps we should not return to the inn just yet. Then where shall we go? I turn my face back to him, questioning. Follow me, my lady. Bahadur leads me to another part of the docks, one that has rows and market stalls, stretching from the water's edge to the heart of the town. I look to Bahadur begrudgingly, entirely against my will, begin to feel my mood lighten. Go ahead, my lady, enjoy. He smiles, indulgent and a little too pleased with himself. I don't know who gave him this little nugget of local information, but clearly he has been keeping it in his pocket to deploy at the right time. For an instant I feel like a spoiled, ignorant child again. I feel shame at being so easy to appease and anger, and how quick Bahadur manipulates me so. Then I hear the cries from people selling their wares in accents I've never heard before, smell the thick scent of fish, and fight not to get jostled out of the way the times people push past me. This is so utterly foreign. It doesn't compare to the glittering market in Sia that somehow now seems so subdued and tame. This market is loud and uncouth, and stinks of the fisherman's catch. Yeah, I think she'd like it, the way she describes it, kind of. Like, but at the same time, I feel Jiraiya so much right now, because, like, I'm the exact same. I get angry. I don't get angry very easily, but when I finally do get angry, I get not angry. Like, I get over it so quickly, and sometimes it's annoying how quickly I get over it. Sometimes I want to keep being angry for a little bit, because I feel like that's fair, but I can't. I just stop being angry. After like an hour. I can't really hold grudges. I adore it. It is different it is so different as to be enthralling, yet familiar enough to give me comfort at a time when it is sorely needed. I cannot speak. In fact, as I begin to walk between the merchant stalls, one thing starts to feel increasingly familiar. Irritatingly familiar. Bahadur, what are you doing? My lady. He's playing ignorant. While we walk through the streets giddy and free, Bahadur does not walk beside me. Instead he follows 3 steps behind, just like he used to in Sia. Just like a slave. Stop doing that. Doing what? Please, walk beside me. Bahadur's expression clouds and his mouth twists as he looks down anywhere but into my eyes. My lady, I can't. His eyes dart about the crowded market, at the people going about their business, and he keeps his voice low. Are you afraid? Not for myself. For me. Why? Are you honestly fussing about my reputation after everything? We don't know these people. Who cares what they think? I'm not worried about the people of Dajara, but we must start preparing now. Preparing? For when we go home. Home. Back to the things we were. Perhaps we will never be able to go home. No, my lady, we'll work everything out in Umar, I know it. Who says we must go home at all? My lady, Bahadur sighs, resigned. I mean it, what if... My lady, stop. He halts in his tracks, finally meeting my eyes. his gaze stern and heavy, and beneath that is something else, something sad and afraid. Please just stop. Finally, for the first time, I dare speak aloud my private thoughts on Bahadur's future, that were born back in that cold, lonely cave at the top of the knives. Have you ever given a thought to being freed, officially? I lower my voice to a whisper, but the words come out quick and excited. Bahadur doesn't reply. Finally, he manages to pull a shaky, sickly imitation of a smile. Please do not speak so fondly of getting rid of me, my lady. The words are supposed to be a sort of gentle jest, but the plea behind them is clear. Please stop. I am sorry. I know this is hard, but at some point, he definitely needs to hear it. We could do it, you know. In Umar, you wouldn't have to go back to Sia. You could just stay there. I don't want to stay in Umar, my lady. You could buy a house. I don't want a house, my lady. Just think, you could be a free man. I said I don't want that. Forgive me, my lady. Let's move on. He gestures with his arm, bowing his head as though a sign of deference and a way of hiding the shock and shame on his face. Shaken, I turn and start walking. The color of the market seems to have been bled away by the lingering unpleasantness of our conversation. But after a while, it starts to return. I let the infused calls of the vendors and chattering of the customers wash over me as I go from stall to stall, my interest in their wares growing more genuine with each one. A glint of something catches my eye, and I turn to see a stall that is unusual, possibly unique, by the market standards. Jewelry. The man behind the stall notices my gaze. Step right up, ma'am. If it glitters, I've got it. Compared to the wares in Sia's market, these pieces are simpler, cheaper. Some smell of simple metal rather than silver or gold. But there's something about their simplicity that is so earnest. I can't help but be drawn to them. I approach the stall, and Bahadur follows, 3 steps behind. Casting an eye over each and every time, I have to admit I've never seen anything quite like this before. Bahadur, aren't they pretty? No response. He hasn't heard me. Attention is focused entirely on a particular pair of small shining earrings. My uncle had gifted him a few different pairs of earrings over the year, all of them left when we fled the villa. My one vanity, he'd said once when we were alone. These ones would suit him. Excuse me, how much for these? I snatched the earrings from Bahadur's gauge. 1 silver. I gape. For both of them? The merchant laughs. Yes, for both. What, you want to haggle up? I didn't know jewelry even existed that could be bought for only 1 silver piece. Still reeling, I hand over the coin and gain the earrings. Fine purchase, my lady. I'm glad you think so. Here, I hold them out to him. My lady? They're for you. A gift. No, an apology for earlier. That is kind of you, my lady, but I couldn't. But you want them, don't you? I'm not trying to push an agenda, Bahadur. I just saw you staring, and actually, my lady, I was thinking they would suit you. Oh, I thought that they would suit you. Bahadur chuckles, and so do I, and the warmth of the moment, for the first time in what seems forever, is entirely genuine. Ugh! Fine, I'll buy you another pair. Very well, I suppose you can admire them from afar, then. I go to unclasp one of the earrings when Bahadur takes a step forward. But, my lady, what if... He stops himself, considering for a moment, then takes another step. What if we each take one? Yes! Yes! I break into a grin and eagerly give him one of the earrings. Pressing mine into my ear, I watch as he does the same with his. It may be small, a unnoticeable thing to anyone else, but I am delighted to know that what Bahadur and I match. The secret smile he gives me makes my chest thump, and hope rekindles in my heart. Distracted, I don't notice the man passing by, suddenly sliding through the throng of people as best he can as he stumbles into me. My apologies, miss. No, excuse me, I stop. He stop. His uniform is unmistakable. The shock on his face shows that I am just as recognizable to him. He is a Sia soldier, and he has found me. His eyes His eyes dart from me to Bahadur and then back at me. He seems to be weighing his chances alone, against a giant Jean with no backup in sight. Forgive me, miss." With a painfully false air of composure, the man backs away a few steps, then turns and starts walking quickly through the crowd. "He's going to tell—" "Hey!" The man walks faster. "Stop!" The man breaks into a run. In an instant, Bahadur is moving, giving chase through the crowded market. "Wait!" I follow, but the crowds do not part as easily for me as they do for Bahadur, and I soon fall behind. By the time I have managed to wriggle out of the market, I have lost sight of both of them. Oh, this is bad. Heart pounding, I stumble through the streets, looking about in a near panic. I run and finally hear a familiar growl coming from a secluded back alley. Oh no. Bahadur has the soldier cornered, back pressed into a wall. As he slowly advances on the man, Bahadur shows no signs of having noticed me behind him. He is nearly upon the soldier now, trembling harder with every step. Bahadur takes toward him. The man suddenly pushes himself from the wall and tries to run. Bahadur intercepts him effortlessly, grabbing him with one hand and slamming him back into the brick. There is a sickening crunch when one of the man's arms fall limp, angled unnaturally out of its socket. I've never seen him attack a human like that, like it's nothing. The soldier whimpers in pain and fear as Bahadur presses his face close and holds him even tighter. "Please." He's a young man, barely more than a boy. I hadn't noticed that until now. "Please let me go. I won't say anything. If anyone asks, I'll pretend I haven't seen you." "Your arm is broken." "I'll lie. I'll say I fell. I promise I won't speak." Bahadur presses even closer, their noses brush. "I'm sorry. I can't risk that." "Please. I don't want to die." "You have to die." Bahadur's voice doesn't sound like his. It's cold, detached, practiced. "No, please!" The soldier writhes helplessly, begging, tears spilling down his cheeks. Please don't kill me!" Bahadur is unmoved by the young man's cries. He doesn't even seem to hear them. His claws, growing long and pointed in the weeks since we left Sia, come up to the soldier's neck and press there, drawing blood. He means to cut this boy's throat. "Bahadur, stop!" As if struck by a bolt of lightning, Bahadur jolts and goes stiff. His hands drop and the soldier is released. Wounded as he is, the young man manages to scramble away and flees the alley in an instant. Bahadur lets him go. He seems almost paralyzed. And when he finally turns to me, slowly, as if afraid to confirm that I'm really there, his face is stricken with a vacant sort of horror. "Bahadur? He isn't moving. He can't move. I'm not sure how much danger we're in right now, but every inch of me wants for us to retreat to the safety of the inn. Speak softly. Come on, Bahadur, come with me." I used my softest, sweetest voice to try and keep any trace of fear and panic out of it. After a moment, Bahadur seems to respond, seeking out my voice, like a child seeking comfort. "Let's go back to the inn. Come on." I urge him to follow, and he does. Together we step back onto the street, and I lead Bahadur to safety. Good God, look at the two of you! As soon as we step inside, the innkeeper pushes towards us to a booth in the corner. Almost as soon as we sit, she drops 2 plates of dinner in front of us. "Now I'd say you look in serious need of a drink, especially your Jean, eh?" She winks at me with no sign of her previous disapproval at serving alcohol to a Jean. Bahadur must look that bad. No. It's the first word he's spoken in a long time, and it comes out ragged and sharp. "Serious one, isn't he? A drink'll loosen him right up." "No!" The innkeeper wisely backs off. Once we're alone, I'm not sure what to say, so I begin eating. Bahadur doesn't take a single bite. By the time I finish my meal, his has gone cold. He won't say a word, barely moves a muscle. Once the bar closes for the night and the patrons either leave or head upstairs to their rooms, I move from my chair to sit beside Bahadur on the booth seat. As time slips by, in the darkness I feel my body growing heavy, and my eyes begin to slide shut as sleep takes hold. Jiraiya. Not my lady. Jiraiya. I startle awake and look at Bahadur. I can just make out his features in the dark, and I can see that his face is only half turned towards me. I must never be allowed to drink alcohol. Of all the things I might have expected him to say, that wasn't one of them. Why? I have seen it make monsters of men. What would it make of me? I stare at him for a few moments, unable to find words. I feel... You are not a monster! You know that I was born in Sia, bred and raised to fill a specific role. I do know it is the way of things in our city. Yes, but I was never meant to be a household servant. From birth I was a gladiator. Yes, it was never a secret that Uncle Makram had purchased Bahadur from the gladiator pits, but neither was it something that we ever really talked about. It stood to reason, didn't it, that a gene with a gladiator's training would probably make a good household god. I'd never questioned Bahadur's past, though suddenly I was ravenously curious. I was made by the gods for those pits. Everyone said it, big, strong, eager to please. I trained hard, I won every fight, killed everything put before me in the arena. Dogs, bears, Gene. He gives a little humorless laugh. If you think about it, I might as well have been the most prolific killer in the whole of Sia. That's the past. It's behind you now. At the time, I didn't think on it. I didn't even understand the concept of morality. I didn't ask myself how I felt about the things I did. It was my role. I filled it. Today your uncle came to my little room in the cellar of the pits and said he'd bought me, and he was my master from now on. I obeyed. I followed him out and went home with him. Bahadur laughs again, this one a little less cold, a little more real. But when I was told that I was to be a valet, to be part of the household, that was the first time I think I'd ever felt confused. But I didn't understand my role. He hesitates, mouth open on something that doesn't come out for the longest time. For the first time I saw you, you were barely past your 6th birthday, hiding behind your uncle's legs, peeking out at me with those wide eyes. A smile comes to my lips. I remember. I thought, do they know what I am? What I've done? How can they expect me to look after this tiny little human? But you know something? It was easy. It was so easy. I loved you from the start. You were as precious to me as you were to the master and mistress. You were the making of me. You made me forget what I was. His words are so sincere, his eyes shining so bright and gentle in the darkness that it takes my breath away. I never knew. Oh, Bahadur. But he clears his throat, and in an instant the unshed tears are gone from his eyes, replaced with something hard and steadfast. You made me forget what I am. I left the pits, my lady, but the pits never left me. Beneath the fine clothes and good manners, this wild blood still runs through my veins. Ideally, you would never have to see that side of me, but you've seen it now. What I can do when I have to. He snarls. I should have killed that soldier. No, you shouldn't. I don't want you to kill. Not for me. The chances of him keeping his words are monumentally small. He will tell the rest of them that he saw you. Shh, they don't know where we are tonight. I put my hand on his head, fingers sliding through his hair. Bahadur shudders and looks at me with naked vulnerability. But we're safe for now. I speak gently, and I use my hand on his head to softly guide him into a more reclined position. The tension bleeds out of him as exhaustion takes hold. Rest. We'll figure everything out in the morning. Eventually, Bahadur falls into an uneasy sleep, It's not long before I join him. God, this is such a long chapter. I'm gonna have to end the episode here. My plan was to wait until the chapter was done, but holy shit, it's so long. Alright, I am gonna end this episode here. Hope you guys enjoyed. This was a little bit of a longer one. I will see you hopefully soon for the next part. Can't wait to see what happens next. Alright, bye.